So today we are going to see how we are going to modify this template. Last time we saw how to set up this kind of a template using n8n and Docker, and some things that would provide you a lot of ease of development. Your developer experience will be uh, brilliant and much more easier than it would have been. Obviously, some amount of investment and planning you will have to do in the thinking of the process of how we are going to make this into something useful. So before making it into something useful, we need to point out the fallacies in this, the faults in this. What like bugs exist, what kind of problems we might run into in the future. So after analyzing this template, I found out some of the problems. Let's say that we have this template and it is set to scrape any website that we give it, and let's say that we have this books to scrap.com. We want to scrap this website. We want to enter this into this chat terminal that we had created earlier, and then it will hit this node and fire off. So books to scrape, I hit enter. You can see the nodes are running. It is executing that command, scraping the website. It has completed successfully, and we can see all the links have been scraped. Now this is the firecrawl OK, which is the validation that yes, the links were extracted. This is the template presentation that we were using earlier, the template that was in French. The intelligent URL detection system, which apparently is working as well. So it gave us a bunch of data, and in the spreadsheet it was saved, but I think there was an error. So there is some JavaScript code that we need to analyze over here as well. As you can see, this code is also in French in the template, so we'll have to modify this code as well. So coming to the point now, the problems in this flow. What will happen is, if I give it books to scrape again, it will still scrape the website, and it shouldn't scrape that website because it has already scraped that website. So if I want to tomorrow scrape multiple websites and create a database from that scraped data and actually use it for some kind of analytical purpose or to extract some kind of trend, I would not be able to do so because I will have many duplicates and redundancies in my data. That is my source of truth. So the source of truth has to be pure, and it has to be consistent. There should be no duplicates. That is some of the basics that of data engineering and web development in general. So to make it so that it becomes deterministic and there are no duplicates, we need to add some kind of spreadsheet or source of truth where from where we can extract that information, that which site was scraped and how many URLs were scraped. So some metadata related to this entire automation, this job that we are running. This is basically one job we are running where we provide it a URL and it automatically scrapes all of the all of the sitemap of that URL. So we are just trying to make this much more usable so that we can actually produce some real world value from this, maybe even sell this template. So this is how you actually build something real world, by analyzing problems in that. Now once we give it the URL and it starts to scrape, uh, it will go through the firecrawl validation as you mentioned, and intelligent URL detection. So okay, so first what we need to do is we just shift we don't need to shift that part, we need to shift this part. So the crawling is something we are not touching right now. We'll build this uh, process by process. uh, phase 3 we don't need to touch. Phase 4, the template. So this template is the cause of a little bit of our problems because this is in French. So first let's convert this template into English. First let us convert this template into English. So I'll go to my Google Sheets spreadsheet, and here I will create a new spreadsheet and name it new template. For now I'm not even putting the headers inside because I think these headers can be populated using the JavaScript code that we will look at, that is present in the phase 5 of things. So what we will do is we have taken the URL and we need to make it accessible as well. Anyone with a link, copy link so that n8n can access this empty template, and over here we will modify this to use this URL instead. And as you can see, this is now pointing towards this URL. Now this is the node where the actual spreadsheet file has been created. Over here you can see that the file name that has been created uses some special syntax and some special prefixes that we were not aware about initially. As we have updated the template, so now what is this expression all about? This dollar and brackets is the way to represent other nodes in n8n. Basically you have to write something like this, dollar and this and the node name. Now when chat message received is one of the nodes that we have in this workflow, when chat message received. So this node will start referencing this node's data. .item .json .chat input, .item .json .chat input. It will directly take the name of the URL from the chat input section and use it to create a file based on this template, which we have just updated to an empty one from the French template that we were using earlier. This is a very key part of the flow, and many people confuse that it is using this type of data. But as you can see over here, there are items, but it's different. The keys are different, and you will not find items.json.chat input over here. This is just representing the output of the last node this node was attached to, which was firecrawl OK. Doesn't mean that this node has to use this. It can reference other nodes as well and use other nodes data in n8n as well using this special syntax over here. So we can see that it is a drive file. It has this ID. Name has been automatically taken from the chat input. I just showed you how using this special syntax, and the MIME type, which is just a protocol. We don't need to worry about that right now. Now go in the automation pipeline once more. So if you can see, we just scrape books to scrape, and if we now again take books to scrape, it will scrape it. This was one of the problems that we were trying to resolve while understanding this template a little bit in a deeper manner. So it's showing error on the request failed with 404. Request failed with 404. It's saying new template. Let's try by copy by ID. So for every for every Google spreadsheet, this is how you can just get the ID of that spreadsheet. It is given in the URL above. And if we enter this URL but it is routing it over here. So now it is working. Now this step is working. The ID was working. I don't know why the URL was not working. These are the small details that we need to take care about while actually trying to work with n8n. Now going over to the next step, we can see that this sorting URL into table, this is basically just a processing and hierarchy creation system where we take the URLs that were extracted and we run some JavaScript code on that and actually create the return type objects, basically restructure the JSON into something that we want and we are expecting. So this is in French. What I can do is simply copy, go to Claude desktop, create a new chat, paste, and hey Claude, keep the functionality same but convert this into English from French. So this is the first bit of code that we are writing in this or generating, but it is better than the no code tools that you are using, because over there you will not understand the flow. At least over here you can understand the flow of what is happening. There was also an error happening. There was also an error showing. Rectify the code and convert it into English. And we can see the Claude AI will do its job and give us the rectified code. And it's also telling us what this JavaScript exactly does. So let's go through the code right now a little bit. Verify that the input is valid. So input data is valid or not. Normalize all URLs. Ensure URL is a string. Okay. Extract different domain and subdomain present in the URLs. So this is where the leveling happens. Extract subdomain and base domain. Determine the main domain. So there's a lot of code about how to refactor domains and basically establish the leveling of domains. Process each document domain separately. Function to format the display text of a URL. Function to extract relative path from a URL. Function to create tree structure for a specific domain. Build tree structure. So all of this stuff, but still this is like the business logic of the application. This is something that you will have to develop over time. The stronger this is, the better your automation will be. It's as simple as that, because obviously not everything is part of infrastructure. It is difficult to code infrastructure and pipelines around the actual business logic, but the actual business logic is something that gives you an edge in the market and helps you actually become a good product creator. So now we have replaced our business logic with first of all English version, and I think now it should execute this step as well. Copy node template, because I think we'll have to run the automation pipeline once more. So now if we execute this step, so it's not working. Let's go do one more run of Claude AI. What does Claude say?
2 hours later.
So I think we have found the error. The normalize all URLs. This is where, firstly, this is the create site hierarchy function. We understand the main process input function. So it is trying to process the input. Over here, it again references one of the other nodes that exist in our flow, map a website and get URLs. So map a website and get URLs. This is the node this node is trying to reference and get the data from, obviously, because it needs to map the website and get the URLs. Then it will verify the data structure. It will process and create a site hierarchy and return that site hierarchy as a JSON object with the row. And it will also catch and process any errors during processing. So the main function is create site hierarchy. It is referencing the node to get the data, extracting the data from that node and passing it to this function. Now over here, first thing that we do is we check that the input data has the following fields or not, whether it has links, whether it has success, whether it has data logs. Not this data, mind you, the data that is present in map website over here. So it has links, it has success, it has all the things that we need. This is the little confusing bit of n8n. So once we enter over here, what it is doing is it is treating URLs, links.map URL as a string, and it is failing over here. We need to handle the object type that is coming from that node, and for that again I used Claude to figure this out. It was just some clicks away, and once we normalize all URLs, handle the objects properly. That is, first we declare a URL string, we check the type of that item, whether it is an object, whether it is null, or and item.url. If it is this and this and this and this, so type of, if it is an object and item is not null and item is a URL, then it will be URL string item.url. If it is of string, it will already be assigned, else try to convert it to string. So we have now handled the URL that is incoming to us properly. This time, if we make this change and execute the step, we can see that all the URLs are being populated properly in English the way we wanted them to be. They have also been paginated. So you can see that all levels have been captured properly now. Finally, what we did was data mapping. Now data mapping will take that data that we just sorted using that function, and it will use copy templates node. It will use this copy templates node file with this ID. By sheet name is fr because it was referencing the old template. In our template where there is no fr, so sheet 1, and map columns automatically. So we don't need to individually map the columns. The code itself will take care of it, and these columns will be mapped. The JSON column fields will be mapped inside of the Google Sheets document we are trying to create. Now if we execute, there might be an error which we might need to debug, but fingers crossed. We execute this step and it has been successfully executed. There were no errors. This much is the understanding that you will have to do if you actually want to create and develop this template over time. Now if we go and look at my spreadsheets, we will be able to see that there is a books to scrape n8n, the title that we were trying to create, and properly we have all the URLs mapped according to their level, and these are clickable links. You can click them. These are hyperlinks that are being stored, and you can click them, and it is showing forbidden. And it is opening up in websites. So I'll just go copy this and index.html. So some sites might be forbidden for the general server, but most of them are working. So this is the entire explanation of what we were trying to achieve and how we have modified it to a much more usable version. Still, you can see that it will take even books to scrape again, and it will scrape and cost the user again. So we want to modify this template now with the understanding we have developed to make a system such that it can enter this job run in the format that it can detect basically which sites it has already scraped and which sites are the new ones that the user is sending. So a user can also enter a list, but that will come over time. We will go step by step. First, we will introduce a feature where it can detect which sites it has already scraped. So for that, it will have to keep a track of the sites which it has already scraped along with the number of URLs that were scraped. So for now, we will just introduce the feature that how to create a sitemap registry where all of the incoming websites and the scraped URLs would be a metadata, and a log entry will be stored about them. Obviously, the actual spreadsheet with the site and the URLs has to be different because sites can contain thousands of URLs. There is no limit to that. So yeah, this was just a brief explanation of the template that we were working in and understanding the business logic inside of that template.